welcome to another awesome episode of YouthConnect. I'm Ian.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Jeffrey.
And welcome to our YouthConnect. Hello, everybody. Welcome to YouthConnect. I will say it now because we want to make sure that anybody who wants to process some information is really important. We do have a few members that are not here, which include, oh my gosh, man, my brain. We're missing Joshua, we're missing Nebraska, and we're missing Logan. But it is okay because you know what, guys? We always have each other's back. So don't worry, I did get you guys a good story news, and it's a really, really good one. But what in the world is YouthConnect? Well, YouthConnect is a news, interest, entertainment show that was created during the pandemic for the community, by the community. And everybody here has some interesting stuff that they're going to share. Some interesting news, some live music, some video game news, and as you heard before, some good story news. So it's going to have a little bit of a mix of everything. And it's definitely not your usual news broadcast that you would watch on television. This is one that gives it a little bit of spice to it. Now, I really hope that you enjoy this episode of YouthConnect. But the first things first, if you guys know with it, we always have to start off with some gaming news. Okay, guys, so actually I've talked about this game before when the Direct came out, but there's been some new news about there being not just on Switch release, but its release date has came out recently, and I thought it was really, really cool because they gave it a little bit of interesting. I talked about it a little bit, but this is some more info. Today's Spotlight Game of the Week will be Headbangers Battle Royale. Now, that is quite an interesting name, but how do I say this? The concept of this game is quite interesting. Have you ever looked at a pigeon and thought to yourself, what is going on inside of your tiny little head? Well, think no more. In this game of Headbangers, it will put you and 29 others into the eye of the pigeon while you battle it out in rhythmic challenges to find out who is the ultimate headbanger. Okay, that's quite an interesting concept. But you could compete against each other in mind-bending musical minigames. And you're going to mess up your opponents with power-ups and collect crumbs to customize your very own pigeon. And I'll get into that a little bit more later. Well, you're going to be grabbing your friends and battling through minigame madness through online cross-platform multiplayer, which is quite interesting, guys. So if you're on Switch, if you're on PC, if you're on PlayStation, if you're on Xbox, you can play together since they have cross-platform compatibility. And you guys know I absolutely appreciate it when a game makes that possible. But there are over 23 mini-games across 4 rounds, and each Headbangers level contains a new challenge with a stimulating and unique musical twist. Each round escalates in difficulty, progressing musical frenzy, as they say, until the final round. And guys, here comes a joke. You must keep as cool as a cucumber. Get it? Because pigeons say coo. And get that bread. Oh. The corny jokes are here, guys, so don't worry. There are plentiful. Now, mini games, especially of the musical variety, will test your memory, your rhythm, your reflexes, reaction time, and most importantly, your rap ability. So do be ready for that. And what's interesting, guys, is when I said about crumbs, you can choose and design your pigeon with over 100 unique items. Maybe you want to have some outfits, some hats, some glasses, voices, taunts, and even more. Guys, I recommend you check out Headbangers. It looks absolutely hilarious. And listen, it reminds me of Raving Rabbits. If you guys know Raving Rabbits, they're huge. So having something that is using another animal, which are pigeons, are quite cool and kind of funny. So again, please do check out Headbangers Battle Royale. Anyways, though, this has been my first gaming news, and next up is Kevin with some all-important news, and I just cannot wait to hear his interesting fact of the day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to YouthConnect with me, Kevin Aruja. So let's get right into the headlines. The city staff to explore relocating proposed Ontario's Plus spot to Expedition Place. Toronto is considering asking vets to use armories to shelter unhoused people this winter. Christmas tree as this year's distillery winter village, tallest one ever. My apologies. And Raptors snapped three-game skits with dominant with the score of 103 out of 111 win over Bucks. Members of the city's executive committee have voted in favor of exploring the possibility of building a proposed thermal spa and water park on Exhibition Place instead of Ontario Place. The motion by Ward 10's by Dinah Ford, your councillor, Asma Malik, adopted during Tuesday's meeting, directs the city manager to consult with another staff, including the CEO of the Exhibition Place and the Canadian National Exhibition Association, to conduct a preliminary feasibility assessment on a siting of a proposed therm facility at the Exhibition Place, including within the Better Living Center site. The Board of Governors of Exhibition Place, in which Malik is chair, endorsed the motions during the October 27th meeting. She noted that the site has been one of the alternative locations for the therm facility identified during public meetings. The exhibition place may benefit from and provide an improved location for this use due to factors such as proximity to transit, hotel accommodations, parking, exiting, servicing, and other infrastructure. The city staff is expected to report back on December 5th. Infrastructure Ontario is currently leading a development application process with the City of Toronto that includes a proposed private spa and water park by Therm for the West Island. Toronto could soon ask the federal government to turn its armories into makeshift shelters as it struggles to deal with the refugee housing crisis. On Tuesday, Mayor Olivia Chow's executive committee voted in favor for a motion to call on the Canadian government to both fund and make operational emergency accommodation at its sites, including armories, as well as to establish a regional refugee reception center. Sorry. There are currently two federal armories in the city at Fort York and Moss Park. The latter was briefly opened as a shelter site in the winter of 2018. The motion adopted on Tuesday also recommended that the city asks Canada to provide appropriate support services for refugee climates and asylum seekers, reimburse Ontario for the full cost has incurred supporting them, and provide funding through the Interim Housing Assistance Program, as well as an increase in the Canada Ontario Housing Benefit allocation, notably to match recent provincial and municipal program increases with the $6.67 million in funding for 2023. The City Council is expected to consider this item next week. Since 2022, the number of refugees arriving in Canada has grown by 54%, with many arriving in the GTA in desperate need of support and housing. Currently, refugee claimants and asylum seekers make up about a third, roughly 4,000 of the 11,000 or so people in Toronto's shelter system. A 56-foot tall silver fir has found a home in the distillery districts for the next 2 months, commencing the unofficial start of this year's holiday season. This year, Distillery District Winter Village Christmas tree is said to be the tallest one ever, according to a media advisory from Distillery Historic District. It was sourced from Egbert, Ontario's Drysdale's tree farm, arriving on site in the Distillery District on Wednesday morning. It was then raised up around 12:30 p.m. using a large crane. It took about 2 minutes for crews to lift the massive trees into the air and secure it, with CP24's camera capturing the whole process. Local food vendors also took advantage of the tree raising ceremony by showcasing some of what they may be offering later in November at the annual Distillery Winter Village Holiday Market. A tree lighting ceremony will be taking place on November 16th to formally mark the start of the Distillery Winter Village. Tickets will be required for event goes up after 4 p.m. with proceeds going to charity. And in sports news, Pascal Siakam scored a game high with 26 points. Dennis Schroeder had 24 points and 11 assists. And the Toronto Raptors handily defeated the Milwaukee Bucks with a score of 130 out of 111 on Wednesday. Scotty Barnes added 21 points, added 12 rebounds for the Toronto, which snapped a 3 games losing skid. Jacob Podol had 14 points and 11 rebounds, with OG Anunoby chipping in 16 points. The Bucks are led by a first-year head coach and former Raptors assistant, Adrian Griffin. He spent the previous 5 of his 15 years as an NBA assistant with Toronto. Griffin was presented with a tribute video during a timeout early in the first quarter, receiving applause from the Scotiabank Arena crowd. Barnes highlighted the stretch with a laser of cross-court bounce pass on a fast break to get a newbie a dunk before hitting a 26-foot steps back 3 on the ensuing possession. Paced by Siakam's 9, Toronto led by the Mary as 17 and held at a 31 out of 18 edge after 1. The early part of the fourth quarter belonged to Siakam. Despite the Bucks' best efforts to inch closer, Siakam scored 11 points in the first 3:35, capped by 3 to keep Milwaukee behind with 110 out of 88. Toronto never relinquished that momentum en route to the dominant victory. In today's weather forecast, we've got a mix of thunderclouds this afternoon. The temperature is now 12 degrees. And tomorrow we will get another mix of silent clouds. The temperature will be 11 degrees. And also for the new topic, for fact, I'm going to talk about my favorite cake is chocolate. So now we're going to talk about cake. So what is cake? So a cake is a sweetened baked food, usually made with flour, flour, eggs, sugar, and a leavening agent. Shortening may or may not be used. Shortening is a fat or oil of animal or vegetable origin, such as butter, lard, vegetable oils, processed shortenings, and margarine. Cake or pastry flours give lighter, finer grained, and more tender cakes than do stronger flours, which are used for bread making. Flavoring such as vanilla, chocolate, or mint is often added to cakes. Additional ingredients such as nuts or fruits add to the texture and taste. A cake is usually shaped by the tin, which is really baked. Bakers usually separated cakes into 2 basic types: those that have shortening and those that do not have shortening. Those with shortening are moist and velvety. For these cakes, bakers use a leavening agent such as a baking powder or baking soda. Unshortened cakes are firm yet less dense than the ones with shortening. Sponge cakes and sponge cake and angle food cake are examples of unshortened mixtures. These cakes depends largely upon incorporated air for leavening instead of chemicals raising agents. The adding air produce a light product. Throughout Europe and the United States, particular cakes are associated with celebrations. These include the 12th night cake of France, the Easter tort of Germany, and the Christmas fruit cake of the United States. The wedding cake is traditionally throughout the West. It varies in styles from country to country. In some Western countries, people celebrate birthdays with a cake. Sometimes it is decorated with candles corresponding to the celebrant's age. So the first fact is, what did the first cake look like? The earliest version of cakes were completely flat, compact discs of grain which are dried and compacted together. The closest resemblance to the cakes we enjoy today actually didn't appear until the early 18th century, as before this time they were raised with yeast and closer to bread than cakes. So the second fact is, when did the Christmas cake look like? Christmas cake is a modern addition to the festive dessert table. The fruity ice cake that we eat around Christmas time now actually replaced the more traditional 12th cake from the late 19th century, which was eaten at the Feast of Epiphany, when this Christmas season has ended. The last fact is, when is the most popular cake flavor? Chocolate is the top flavor for most people when birthday cake is concerned, followed by vanilla. German chocolate cake is one of the most famous desserts in the world. True, but it didn't originate in Germany. In fact, it was associated with Samuel German, an American who created a dark baking chocolate in 1852. Over 100 years later, in 1957, it was used in a recipe that was published under the titles German's chocolate cake, which was then what it was known by. So with that, we come to the end of my segment. Tune in for next week's news, weather, and a very own interesting fact. I'm sending you back to Aiden. See you on next Friday.
I guess Kevin took our. I guess Kevin worked with Logan's cooking course for today, since he taught us about shortening and the history about cakes. Thank you so much, Kevin. And honestly, I like chocolate cake, but if I had to choose a favorite, it would have to be red velvet. Now, I will ask you, Jeff, since you are the other person of our group, what is your favorite? Do you have a favorite cake?
I love chocolate. Chocolate
Oh,
is my favorite.
two chocolate fans.
I like red velvet cake, which was great.
All right. You know what? We got chocolate. We got some red velvet. I know that my mom loves something called a caramel crunch cake. It's one of my favorite cakes in the whole wide world. And I don't know what my dad's favorite cake is. I feel like he's a very vanilla cake person. Nothing simple, nothing too crazy. But our entire family loves red velvet. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. I don't really check sometimes because our cake tastes change all the time. And there's so many cakes in the world. Thank you so much, Kevin, for your news. And now let's keep the train moving and bring it on to the second gaming news. So, if you guys remember, a few weeks ago, I talked about a bit of a scarier game, and I did warn you guys it was a little bit more scarier. And if you remember, it was actually now being told to be one of the best Souls-like games, called Liza P. But why am I bringing back Liza P? Well, why? There's no reason. We already talked about it. Well, Liza P is getting new content in the form of a DLC expansion, as well as a fully fledged sequel. So, director Ji Won Choi took to the game's official YouTube channel on October 31st on Spooky Day to deliver the news, announcing that duo developers New Wiz Games and Round 8 Studios aren't done with the Pinocchio-inspired Souls-like just yet. Choi didn't give too many specifics, but confirmed that the Liza P sequel is in the works. And that makes me so happy because this game, I played it, guys. It is fantastic. If you haven't played, or if you like Souls-like games and you want to play a game that's like a Souls-like, Liza P is where it's at. And it's inspired by the Souls-like game. So if you like Souls-like games, you're going to love this game. I love the game, and I bet you will too. Again, darker game. So if you're a very big Mario person, don't check out Liza P. It's more for the diehard fans of Souls-like Elden Ring. Oh, I love those Souls-like games. But basically, in the YouTube video, he said that his highest priority is developing the DLC and working on the sequel. The development team is putting in significant effort, brainstorming and exploring different aspects of the projects. He also spoke briefly about the Liza P DLC, but didn't entail what the expansion will be. He only outlined a few things. He did share 2 teaser images, which hints at the DLC's setting, the one that is currently on the screen right now. And there's another image that seems to be a lab of some sorts, where there's probably human experimentation. That makes the game's monstrous enemies kind of be created. And the second one, which I have on screen, appears to be a ship at sea, suggesting some kind of pirate-like adventure. That always sounds awesome. So now there's been speculations, and I have my own speculations, but I think it could be Neverland, a dark version of Neverland, which is always exciting. Now, if you've ever seen the game's post-credit scenes, you might. I'm gonna spoil a little bit, but it basically references Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. So maybe that would be part of the sequel. Hopefully, we get to see that or some more information on the DLC. But for now, we don't have too much information. But I really want you guys to check out Liza P. And I really want you to look forward towards its DLC because this game is truly brilliant and it really takes a dark turn on the Pinocchio kind of book. It kind of follows the more darker side of the original book, not the Disney one, which always is awesome. I love a different take. Remember, it's always good to have different types of takes. Now, this is where I would say next up is Joshua, but I will be continuing on and keeping the ball rolling to give you your good story news. And you'll love this news, guys. It's all about nature, and I love nature. That's my favorite part. So here's your good story news. So, guys, near Akron, Ohio. Oh man, what a place! An abandoned golf course has been rewilded into a splendid slice of nature, the Rust Belt nature, that includes a restored section of the now nationally protected Cuyahoga River. Apologies if I butchered the name, but it says Cuyahoga. Golf courses around the country are being closed faster than they are being opened. And the vast the amount of acreage of the fairway is often reclaimed by nature, but not always by native vegetation. With vast tracts of non-native grass that's heavily watered, mowed, and sprayed with pesticides covering gradient changes that may not be necessarily be conductive to the growth of native species, they could be easily become prey for invasive colonizer species. That's why the Summit Metro Parks, when they acquired the Valley View Golf Course, knew that they had to take a part or an active role in returning the fairway to how it looked before settlers arrived. Basically, they said that they wanted to completely undo the golf course before they could restore the landscape. And they said that it was a lot of work. Courses are harsh environments, and to create them, the vegetation used is usually non-native. It doesn't have value for their local fish and wildlife. However, the big job was, and it offered the nonprofit a tremendous opportunity to connect two of its existing properties into a single 1,900-acre haven for fish, birds, and native plants. Woo! I want to give a round of applause to the Summit Metro Parks for doing such an amazing job on the Valley View Golf Course and changing it into an entire heritage acre. And you know what? 1,900 acres, guys, is quite a bit. So honestly, round of applause. But guys, if you don't know a little bit of the Cuyahoga River, it is famous for catching on fire several times during the 20th century. The river caught on fire several times due to pollution. And thankfully, its status now as a naturally flowing river that floods the surrounding wetlands during periods of intense rain and already harboring near perfect conditions for biodiversity is an inspiring sight to native Ohioans. Ohioans? I apologize for butchering it again. But let's give a round of applause to Summit Metro Parks. And you know what? Great job. It is true, guys. Sometimes they bring in non-native trees or non-native grass that's not part of the place. So when it's abandoned, sometimes it causes those non-native plants to take over. But they did an amazing job. And honestly, if you look at the picture here, I think it's right here, you will see that it looks absolutely brilliant. You might see the golf course a little bit, but honestly, it looks like an entirely new, untouched piece of land. Amazing. Now, here's when it's going to get a little bit interesting. I'm going to be bringing up Jeffrey next, and then I will be ending it off with some board game news. So, without further ado, next up is Jeffrey with his live music.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're ready to sing and jam with myself, Jeffrey, your live musician. I'm going to be playing Get Up, Stand Up by Bob Marley. Here we go. give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Read some man to tell me it. Heaven is under the earth. 'Cause I know you don't know what life is really worth. It's not all that glitters gold. After a story never been told, so now we see the light. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. And don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Most people think breakout will come from the sky. Take away everything, make everybody feel high. But if you know what life is worth, you will look for yours on earth. Now you see the light. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Stand up, get up. Don't give up the fight. Sick and tired of the aces kissing. Dynamo to heaven in Jesus' name, Lord. We know and we understand. Almighty God as a living man can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And now we see the light. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. And don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Never give up the fight. I never give up the fight. Never give up. Never give up. Never give up the fight. Oh yeah! Oh yeah, yeah, yeah! 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 Read some man to tell me heaven is under the earth. And I know you don't know what life is really worth. Fool some people sometimes, can't fool all the people all the time. Now we see the light. And stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. But don't give up the fight. Sick and tired of the is kissing. Dynamo to heaven in the Jesus name, Lord. We know when we understand, mighty God is a living man. Can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Now we see the light. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. And no, don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. And no, don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the fight. Hey everybody, this is Jeffrey, your live musician. I'll see you all next week, and make sure to check out my website, jeffreyinterman.com. Have a great day, everybody. Back to you, Aiden. Bye.
So actually, guys, fun fact about Get Up, Stand Up, written by Bob Marley, that actually appeared on the Wailers' 1973 album, Burning. And Marley wrote the song while touring Haiti, deeply moved by its poverty and the lives of Haitians, according to his then-girlfriend, Esther Anderson. Honestly, it is a message that is quite powerful, and it is a song that talks about standing up for yourself and not giving up. Honestly, Bob Marley is truly inspirational. And guys, if you saw in the movie theaters, there is a movie entirely dedicated to Bob Marley. So if you ever have the chance to learn about, or if you ever want to learn about Bob Marley, I recommend checking out that movie. I don't know if it's out just yet, but I will be definitely checking it out. And I bet you Jeff will be definitely checking it out as well. Maybe me and Jeff can watch it together and we'll tell you a movie review for when it comes out. But honestly, guys, you know what? I'm just going to keep the ball rolling, and I'm going to just say this is the end of our YouthConnect episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, wait, Kevin, you're muted.
And don't forget to click the notification bell.
You know what? It works. All right, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. You know what? Have fun. Spend time with family. Enjoy every single day. Thank you so much, Jeff. And thank you so much, Kevin. And we will see you all
Next Friday.
Yeah, have a great day, guys. And
Have a great day.
we'll catch you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.